Hey everyone, in the last class, we are learning about the basic data structures in a Python. So in that, we have done with the list. Today, we can continue with tuples. Okay, so let's get into the Google Colab first. Now we are in the Google Colab. So last class we have done the list. What is list? We have defined inside the list what kind of data we are able to adding and all those things we have done it. So today we can continue with the tuples. So I'll just write it down here, the tuples. So we can discuss with the tuples. So what is tuple? Tuple is again a data structure in a Python, we can say. So inside the single variable, we can store a different data types like a integer, float, boolean, and string data types. We can store it in a single variable. Even we can write it down a list inside the tuple, or we can define a one more tuple inside the tuple also. So let's define some another variable. I'll call just t1. T1 is equal to, we will define a tuple using a parenthesis. Okay, using parenthesis. If we are using a parenthesis, then it will be a tuple. So I'll just make it as, okay, I'll just do only this only I'll be mentioning. So 2, 5.6, true, and Python. So T1, this is the tuple, the data will be here. This is the data type tuple. Let me check for type of data. Type of T1, it will be a tuple. Here you can see it will be a tuple. So inside this single variable, we are able to store a different data types like a integer, float, boolean, string, and I can mention a list also. I can pass a list also here. So I'll mention something 5 comma a. Okay, this is the list I have defined. Now you can see this is the list inside this one. This is how we can store a different variable in a single, sorry, and different data types in a single variable. This is how we will be defining a tuple. So tuple is a immutable, we can say it is immutable. Why? Because we cannot do any modification like deleting this or appending some value to this tuple. It is not accessible. That's why we say tuples are immutable data structures. So if I suppose try to add something to this one, t1 dot append, I'll just mention append. Okay, I'll append 4. It will give you error here, the error it was showing you, because this one is a immutable. This feature is not supportable. Editing is not supportable in tuples case. That's why it is a immutable data, we can say. But we can access the data. Suppose you want to get this information, Python, you can mention a square bracket, mention the square bracket, mention -2. You will be getting a Python. Okay, so suppose you want to get this full list, then you just mention -1 here only. Here you can see this is a 5 comma 8. Suppose if you check for type of this one, type of T1, if you check for type of T1, it will be taking whole thing. It will be a tuple, give you type will be a tuple. Suppose if you doing indexing and in the index you mention some particular indexing position -1, so it means this data will be restricted to this position only. In that position, what kind of data it will be stored, that kind of type it will be giving you output. Now the output will be a list. So it was saying that inside the tuple, in this position, the data type was stored was the list. In the same way, this one you can check it out. So it will be coming 0, 1, and 2. Let me check it out. Type of T1, position will be 2. It will be Boolean. See, bool it was suggesting you. This is how we can get the information about the type of data inside the tuple, as well as list also we can do it. So in the tuple, what are the features we have? Let me check it out. Dot. Only we have two things, count and index. So what count will do? You can mention some value. That value, how many times it got repeated, that it will suggest you. Okay. So suppose I'll mention one more two here. I'm just redefining the tuple. I'm not updating the tuple. I'm creating the tuple, new tuple with the same variable name only. So let me run. Here you can see 3 count. The count of 2 will be a 3. 3 times it was getting there. So for that purpose, we will be using a count. And if you want to get the position of the particular data, where the data was there, for that we will be using index. Mention that one too. See, it was suggesting you a 0. Here we have a 3 data which contain 2 information, but it was suggesting you 0. Why? Because which position will come first, that position it will going to show you. Suppose if you mention a true, it will suggest you the position of the true value 2, 0, 1, 2. Suppose you might mention Python, it will show you the position of the Python. Okay, Python index. Python, see, case sensitive it was. I have Python defined as a caps P. Here I have mentioned a small. Let me check it out again, rerun. Now you can see a 3. Position will be 3, this one. So this is how we can use the tuples. I hope you learned something new. In the next class, we can continue with the sets and dictionary. Thank you.
Hey, don't forget to download our app for access to free courses and interactive quizzes. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and free content. See you next time. Happy learning.